The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 24. After Tiankai finished speaking, he drove people away with a wave of his sleeves. Barana panicked and begged, "I'm really sorry to perform like that, genius doctor. My mistakes are all my fault. I have no complaints if you want to beat or scold me. It's just that the Wei family has encountered a huge crisis this time. You can't watch our family, the young and old, getting killed." Tiankai said coldly, "Sorry, I am not familiar with you, and your family has nothing to do with me. Please leave." Upon hearing this, Barana hurriedly snatched the brocade box from Liang and handed it to Tiankai. He respectfully said, "She, the genius doctor, this is a little bit of my heart, a piece of fine Hessian jade seed material, worth 5 million. Please accept it." However, Tiankai didn't even look at the so-called Hessian jade seed material. He didn't even open the brocade box, and said unceremoniously, "Don't say 5 million, even if it is 50 million, 500 million, I will not take it. You go, you are not welcome here." At this moment, Liang, who had been silent on the side, sighed softly, knelt directly on the ground, and begged Tiankai bitterly, "Dr. Tiankai, please be merciful and save our Wei family. I will give it to you." Kowtowed. Seeing Liang's pious appearance, Tiankai's expression was a little slow. Compared with Barana, Liang is obviously more educated and polite. Compared with his arrogant and conceited brother, it is two extremes. Barana glared at Liang with dissatisfaction at this time, and cursed in his heart, "This drama is quite good," and he actually kneels and kowtows in front of him. Maybe he wants to grab his own credit and covet the position of the head of the house. Right? Thinking of this, Barana kicked Liang away and cursed, "You are an illegitimate child, what qualifications do you have to kneel on behalf of the Wei family? If you want to kneel on behalf of the Wei family, it is me who is the heir of the Wei family." Liang was kicked to the ground, but he dared not say a word of complaint. He hurriedly got up, patted the dirt on his body, and stood aside humbly. At this time, Barana knelt on his knees and begged, "She, the genius doctor, Fredman, you should know that his illness was not cured by our Wei family, but it was aggravated seriously. Now his place is about to rot. He threatened to destroy our family, and now only you can save our life." Tiankai had known their purpose for coming to him for a long time, and he refused again without hesitation, "Let me go and save Fredman? I tell you, it is absolutely impossible. Neither you nor Fredman have repeatedly disrespected Mr. Wade. So even if you said that the sky is falling into your house, I can't make a move." After finishing speaking, Tiankai coldly said to his buddy, "Okay, get them out of here." Immediately afterwards, Tiankai didn't look back, turned around and walked towards the clinic, without wavering at all. Although it is said that the healer's parental heart, the good heart, should not be imposed on the wicked. The guy immediately pushed Barana and Liang out. "If the two of you block the mouth of the clinic again, I will have to call the police." Standing at the gate of the clinic, Barana looked very ugly. Apart from Tiankai, Oris Hill certainly has no more powerful genius doctor who can cure Fredman's fester. As a result, as Fredman's fester became more and more serious, the entire Wei family would also completely lose hope. At this time, Liang asked in a low voice, "Big brother, what should we do now?" Barona glanced at him in disgust, slapped him up, and cursed, "Liang, how many times have I told you, don't call me big brother, you wild species, you are not worthy at all." After that, Barona looked at him contemptuously, and said coldly, "I'm going to find someone else to find a way, you can go back by yourself." As Barona spoke, he got into his luxury car and walked away. Liang stood there for a moment with anger and unwillingness in his eyes. He stretched his hand into his arms, touched something that had been hidden in his arms for more than 10 years, as if he had made some decision, secretly gritted his teeth, turned around and entered clinic. The attendant at the clinic saw that Liang had walked back again and immediately said with a cold face, "Why are you here again? Go away. You are not welcome here." Liang begged, "Little brother, I have something to say to the genius Dr. Tiankai in person, I will leave after speaking." The guy frowned and said, "The genius Dr. Tiankai doesn't want to see you, don't you know anything about yourself?" Liang knelt on the ground with a puff and shouted loudly into the inside, "Mr. Shi, Liang begs to see you, and speak to you face to face, please be merciful. If you don't want to see Liang, Liang will be with you. Kneel down in front of the store." Tiankai had already walked to the room behind the clinic, and he sighed when he heard Liang's voice. The illegitimate child of the Wei family has been in contact with him several times, and he feels that he is indeed very educated and knows how the etiquette. And Tiankai did feel that Liang's situation in the Wei family was worthy of sympathy. Therefore, hearing Liang's words at this time, he felt a little compassionate in his heart. So he paced out and saw that Barona had already left, leaving Liang alone at the door, and said to him, "You come in with me." "Thank you, Dr. Tiankai." Liang was overjoyed, got up in a hurry, and followed Tiankai to the back hall. As soon as he entered the back hall, Liang immediately took out a slender wooden box made of mahogany from his arms, then opened the wooden box, revealing a whole body of white ginseng. He offered the ginseng in front of Tiankai with both hands, blurting out, "Genius Dr. Tiankai, this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng is the 1,000-year snow ginseng that my mother left to me when she was alive. It is her treasure for a lifetime. I know that you respect that, Mr. Wade, so I want to dedicate this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng to Mr. Wade, and ask Mr. Wade to take action to save the Wei family." Tiankai was stunned when he looked at the small snow ginseng. It turned out to be a 1,000-year snow ginseng. This thing, he has only seen the description in the classical medical books, when he once thought that this thing did not exist, and the snow ginseng was at most 100 years old. Although this snow ginseng is not as long as a folding fan, its whole body is already a little translucent. This is because it has been waxed. Normal ginseng will not wax. It must be so obvious that it is waxed, a sign of its long life. This also allowed Tiankai to conclude that 80% of this snow ginseng is really a 1,000-year snow ginseng. Unexpectedly, this thing actually exists. He couldn't help but ask in surprise, This is really yours? How come you have such precious medicinal materials?" Liang nodded and said earnestly, "Mr. Shi, to tell you, my mother is a native of Chenbai Mountain. Following my grandfather, My ancestors have been collecting medicine in Chenbai Mountain for generations. This 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was handed down from my mother's family for generations. After speaking, Liang said again, my father Yang Zheng just started the medicinal material business, and he often went to Chenbai Mountain to collect medicinal materials. He lied and deceived my mother. After my mother was pregnant with me, he left. I also grew up at the foot of Chenbai Mountain, until my mother was seriously ill and was about to pass away. She was afraid that I would be alone, so she contacted my grandfather. Grandpa thought I was of Wei family blood after all and could not be left outside, so he ordered my father to pick me up in Chenbai Mountain and bring me back to Wei's house. When my mother was leaving, she left this snow ginseng plant to me, so that I must keep it close to my body at all times to prepare for emergencies. Now that the Wei family is in disaster, if Mr. Wade is willing to lend a hand, I would like to dedicate this 1,000-year snow ginseng to Mr. Wade. Tian Kai was speechless in shock. He only knew that Liang was an illegitimate child, but he didn't know that there was such a story behind it. For Liang, he had never said these words to anyone in his life, and Tian Kai was the first. Ever since he was brought to Wei's house, Liang has been humiliated and tortured by others. Since childhood, his father Yang Zheng hated him, and his brother Barana hated him even more. He has always been scolded, beaten, and subjected to various humiliations. He himself has long been used to it. He has been patient, waiting for the day when he can meet a suitable opportunity to get rid of this dark and skyless status quo. Just as the Wei family is suffering from disaster, Yang Zheng also let out a word that whoever can solve this crisis can become the chairman of Wei's pharmaceuticals. Therefore, he took out this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng that has been hidden closely for 20 years. In exchange for it to exhale. This 1,000-year-old snow ginseng has no market value, its preciousness. The 300-year-old purple ginseng, if not for the last time Charlie and Fredman competed, the normal price is estimated to be around 30 million. And this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng can be sold for at least 100 million at the normal price. Liang took it out at this time and gave it to Charlie willingly, so that Charlie could help the Wei family resolve the crisis, so that he could become the chairman of the entire Wei's pharmaceutical company. From now on, it will be a shame. Tian Kai was also shocked by this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. He knew that Charlie had magical medicine refining skills, and this 1,000 years of snow ginseng would definitely be of great help to Charlie. So he immediately took out his cell phone and called Charlie. At this time, Charlie received the medicinal materials sent by Qin Gang, and combined the 300-year-old purple ginseng with other medicinal materials to make 30 rejuvenating pills. As soon as the rejuvenation pill was refined, Charlie suddenly received a call from Tian Kai. On the other end of the phone, Tian Kai's respectful voice rang, "Mr. Wade, Liang, the illegitimate son of the Wei family, want to ask you for help. If you can help the Wei family tide over the difficulties, he is willing to give you 1,000-year-old snow ginseng." 1,000-year snow ginseng? Is it true? Charlie was very surprised. The 300-year-old purple ginseng is very rare. Snow ginseng is more precious than purple ginseng, so it is even rarer. What's more, snow ginseng, which is still 1,000 years old, is definitely considered the treasure of medicine. Charlie is a little excited about the 1,000-year snow ginseng. There is a record in the 9 profound heaven scriptures that the snow ginseng more than 500 years old is a treasure of heaven and earth with aura. If he can get it, he will improve his own strength. It really has strong effect. Tian Kai said at this time, Mr. Wade, to be honest, it's the first time I have seen 1,000-year-old snow ginseng. I'm really not sure if it's 1,000 years, but it's at least 500 years old. Charlie sighed and praised, Old She, you have done a good job of this matter. I just made a new pill that can make you more than 10 years younger. I will give you one back. When Tian Kai heard this, his excited voice trembled a little, and respectfully said, Mr. Wade, you really praise she. In fact, this is what I should do. It's all part of it. Charlie smiled indifferently, and said, Old She, Charlie has always distinguished rewards and punishments. If you do things for me, you will forget your merits if you are unnatural. You will bring Liang to see me first, and you will have rewards in the future. After that, Charlie said again, you bring Liang over now, let me see if his 1,000-year snow ginseng is genuine or not. Tian Kai said excitedly, Okay, Mr. Wade, I will bring him over. Tian Kai hung up the phone and said to Liang, Mr. Wade has already agreed to see you, you can come with me. Upon hearing this, Liang immediately showed an expression of gratitude, bowed to Tian Kai and said, Thank you for your generous help. Tian Kai waved his hand and said, I'm just helping you to connect with Mr. Wade. You don't have to thank me. If Mr. Wade is willing to help you, you can thank Mr. Wade. Liang nodded hurriedly, and said, She genius doctor, let's go now. Tian Kai responded and said to Zhovia, his granddaughter, and said, Zhovia, you drive us to Mr. Wade's house. When Zhovia heard that she was going to see Mr. Wade, she was immediately excited and said, Grandpa, let's go now, don't let Mr. Wade wait long. Afterwards, Liang collected the 1,000-year snow ginseng, followed Tian Kai and Zhovia out of the clinic, and got into an Audi car that Zhovia bought. Since Tian Kai decided to stay in Oris Hill, Zhovia bought this car for the convenience of traveling with her grandfather. 10 minutes later, the group of 3 came to Charlie's door. Tian Kai looked at Liang and reminded, Your brother had some conflicts with Mr. Wade before. When you meet with Mr. Wade, you must not be disrespectful. Liang nodded hurriedly and said, Please don't worry about it, genius doctor. Liang dare not disrespect Mr. Wade. Yet, Tian Kai also knew that Liang and his arrogant brother were not the same, so he nodded and pressed the doorbell of Charlie's house. Charlie opened the door. When Tian Kai and Zhovia saw Charlie, they hurriedly bowed and said respectfully, Hello Mr. Wade. Liang also hurriedly followed to salute and said, Liang has seen Mr. Wade. Charlie nodded and said, You don't need to be so polite, come in and talk. The 3 of them entered the house. As soon as they entered the house, the 3 of them couldn't help but look at the decorations in the living room. This was the first time for the 3 of them to come to Charlie's house, so everyone couldn't help but be surprised. Charlie had already been in the upper class of Oris Hill. With a very detached status, why live in such an ordinary residential building that can no longer be ordinary? Liang also felt that Mr. Wade was unfathomable, a super rich who could easily throw 100 millions at auctions, living in such a simple environment. Charlie didn't know the thoughts of the 3 of them. He pointed to the sofa and said to them, "Sit down." The three of them answered and sat opposite Charlie. Charlie looked at Liang and asked curiously, "I heard you have something to ask me." Liang nodded hurriedly, took out the wooden box containing 1,000-year snow ginseng from his arms, handed it to Charlie, and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng is a family heirloom passed down by my mother's family for many years. I have been wearing it close to my body over the years, but this kind of treasure is in my hands and can't produce much effect, so I thought about it. Dedicate it to Mr. Wade." Charlie didn't say ha. He took the wooden box, opened it, and when he looked at it, he saw a snow-white ginseng with human-like roots and some waxy snow ginseng lying quietly in it. With just one glance, Charlie could feel the strong and rich spiritual energy in it. This is really a treasure of heaven and earth. It has survived for thousands of years between heaven and earth, and absorbed all the aura between heaven and earth, and its origin is Chenbai Mountain, where even now, it is very well protected and almost primitive ecology, so this snow ginseng is also more pure. Charlie couldn't help but get excited. If this 1,000-year-old snow ginseng is used for his own use, it can make his own strength directly cross a level, which is simply an unforgettable opportunity. So Charlie asked indifferently, "Liang, what do you want me to do?" Liang hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, let me tell you that Fredman, the head of the East Cliff Wilson family and the chairman of the Future Company Group, lost his male ability some time ago. After taking the Wei family's improved prescription, the roots began to fester. Now the doctor they all said that his roots can't be kept, and he needs amputation. If he does amputation, then my Wei family will suffer. So I asked Mr. Wade to take action to help Fredman solve the ulceration problem and help the Wei family survive the catastrophe." Charlie smiled playfully. Instead of replying directly to him, instead he asked with a curious look, "I heard that you suffer and are humiliated in the Wei family. Why did you take out such precious snow ginseng at this time and beg me to help the Wei family survive?" Difficulty. Liang confessed, "I have really suffered humiliation in the Wei family all these years. To be honest, I have no feelings for the Wei family. If my mother was not among the dead and unable to raise me, she would not let the Wei family treat me. I was received by Oris Hill from Chenbai Mountain." Speaking of this, Liang suddenly became a little excited, clenched his fists, and said, "The Wei family has given me so much humiliation for so many years. The reason why I am still in the Wei family is to find a chance to avenge the humiliation of these years. Also, my father did great harm to my mother back then. I always hope that one day I can let him lower his head, let him go to Chenbai Mountain, go to my mother's grave, and confess to my mother." At this point in Liang's words, he was a little excited, and this man in his 30s actually shed 2 lines of tears. He choked up and said, "Mr. Wade doesn't know anything. My mother, originally the only daughter of a family of herbal medicine collectors at the foot of Chenbai Mountain, not a big family, but because of the craftsmanship of herbal medicine, life still rich. The SCM, my father, when he went to Chenbai Mountain to collect medicine, saw that my mother was beautiful and young and ignorant, so he deceived her. The mother was played with by him. She thought he would marry her, but she didn't expect this scumbag to be a man of no words. He left, and my mother was pregnant with his child." Having said that, Liang told Charlie exactly what happened back then. Liang's mother was pregnant when she was unmarried. When she was pregnant with Liang, she was slandered in Qinbei Mountain. If it weren't for her pregnancy, his mother would have wanted to end her life. Later, Liang was born, and in the village at the foot of Qinbei Mountain, he also became a wild species for everyone to point to. His only warmth and safe haven in his childhood was his mother. But his mother became ill with overwork and grievances, and died when Liang was not an adult. Liang came to Wei's house without his mother, and he never had a good day. His father looked down on his mother, so he also looked down on him. The stepmother and half-brother abused him, beat him, and humiliated him every day in 20 years. He has been holding back to find a chance for revenge. Speaking of this, he looked at Charlie and said sincerely, "Mr. Wade, my father promised that whoever can solve this problem for the family will become the chairman of Wei's Pharmaceutical. If you can help me get a direction, then I will be your horse for the rest of my life. Everything is up to you." After hearing what Liang said, Charlie suddenly felt that Liang was a bit similar to himself. Once upon a time, he was also an orphan and rubbish who was humiliated and bullied by others. When Stephen Thompson found him and handed over the Emgrand Group and a tens of billions of premium cards to his hands, it truly ushered in a turning point in his life. Later, he accidentally got the 9 profound heaven scriptures by accident, and made himself soar into the sky. And once, when he was spurned by everyone, how could he be waiting for an opportunity to prove myself to everyone, waiting for an opportunity to slap everyone who despised him? Therefore, he can understand Liang's feelings well. A child who has been scolded as a wild breed since childhood, his mother died and went to his biological father's house, and suffered even greater torture, and after 20 years, the degree of tolerance in his heart was even higher than his original self. Thinking of this, Charlie has decided to help him gain control of the entire Wei family. It just so happened that his brother was his enemy, and his 1,000-year-old snow ginseng was exactly what he needed urgently. So Charlie said, "Liang, since you want revenge so much, then I can help you." When Liang heard this, he knelt on the ground with excitement, knocked his head to the ground, and said loudly, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for your generous help. Liang will never forget it." Charlie gave a hum, helped him up, and asked, "Where is Fredman now?" "He's at the Wei's house." Liang said hurriedly, "The ulcer in his place cannot be treated, so he temporarily received anti-inflammatory and antibacterial treatments at the house." Charlie nodded and said, "If this is the case, then go and treat him." After speaking, Charlie said again, "But I'm telling the ugly things first. I only care about his festering things. As for the things he can't use, I don't care." Liang said hurriedly, "Mr. Wade can rest assured that he can't use it here. It has nothing to do with my Wei family. The Wei family only needs to help him prevent the fester, even if it is cleaned up with him." Charlie smiled slightly, "Okay, then let's go now." Liang nodded in excitement, "Okay, Mr. Wade." At this time, almost everyone in the living room of the Wei's villa was concentrated here, and their expressions were extremely anxious. The deadline given by Fredman was already near. Everyone went out for a long lap, but no one found a solution to Fredman's troubles. Fredman's expression was also very gloomy. At this time, he was still infusing fluids. Antibiotics could only slow down the speed of his festering, but still could not stop the festering footsteps. Right now, his pain was beginning to get worse and the situation was getting worse. Fredman saw that the Wei family went out one by one, and came back one by one. Everyone was almost back. He couldn't help but shouted in anger, "What? You haven't found a way to heal me?" Everyone looks embarrassed and panicked but dare not to answer him. Fredman looked at the Wei family patriarch coldly, and shouted, "Young Zhang, haven't you thought of a way?" Young Zhang trembled in his heart and quickly said, "Don't worry, Fredman. I have sent someone to find a famous doctor for you in other places, and I have also mobilized the Wei family's contacts in the pharmaceutical industry to find some broader and more powerful antibiotics will definitely cure you." Although that was the case, young Zhang had no idea in his heart. It was originally hoped that Barana could invite Tiankai, but Tiankai didn't give him any chance at all. After he was driven out of clinic by Tiankai, he went to find a few famous traditional medicine doctors in Oris Hill, but when everyone heard it was Fredman, no one wants to come. The things that Fredman couldn't do in Oris Hill had long been spread, and the things that caused ulceration there by taking medicine indiscriminately were well known. Moreover, the doctors at the People's Hospital had already said that his condition was the only way to amputate his limbs. Who would dare to be in trouble at this time? If it is not cured, not only will be ridiculed, but Fredman may also retaliate. After all, the Wei family was retaliated by him for giving the wrong medicine, so that they would seek doctors for help. Baroness searched a lot, but couldn't find anyone to treat Fredman. In desperation, he could only return home temporarily. The experience of other Wei family members is similar to that of Barana. Anyway, as soon as everyone heard that it was treating Fredman, 11 of the 10 doctors were unwilling to come, and they would not come for any amount of money. Upon seeing this, young Zhang felt that the future of the Wei family was dim. The speed of Fredman's festering was not too slow. At this speed, he estimated that he would be rotten in 2 days. By that time, the Wei family was afraid that he would not know how to die. Barana on the side couldn't help pulling young Zhang aside, and said in a low voice, "Dad, what should we do now? Shall we run away?" Young Zhang turned sullenly, turned his head to look at him, getting more angry as he watched, and whispered, "You know how to escape, where can you escape? Do you think Fredman won't bother us if we escape Oris Hill?" After that, young Zhang looked at him annoyed, and blurted out, "I asked you to ask Tiankai to come over anyway, but you came back alone. You're really useless." Baroness said dissatisfied, "Dad, you can't blame me." Tiankai, the old master, heard that he wanted to treat Fredman, but he immediately refused. It was clear that he and Fredman had hatred. "What can I do?" Young Zhang raised his hand and slapped him in the face and angrily scolded, "This has always been the case since childhood. If something happens, you will shirk responsibility. If you can't bring Tiankai, do you think you are not to blame? Then have you thought about it? Want to win over Fredman and give Fredman a drug that has not been clinically verified?" Speaking of this, young Zhang coughed angrily and scolded angrily, "If you didn't make this kind of thing, how could we have fallen to where we are today? My hard work for a lifetime is about to be destroyed. You have done it. Barana was spoiled since childhood. His father Yang Zheng had hardly beaten him. At this moment, Yang Zheng slapped him very hard, and he was full of anger and disappointment. Barana, who was beaten, had an ugly expression. He also knew that this incident was his own trouble, so it was impossible to clear this responsibility. He could only cover his face and stammered, "Dad, I'm sorry, I was wrong, but I was also trying to make our Wei family go further. After all, Fredman is the chairman of future company group. If we can climb with his relationship will definitely develop more smoothly in the future," Wei Yang sighed in despair. Barana's words also touched him to some extent. His son didn't intend to harm the Wei family. He did hope that the Wei family could be better. Could it be that this is the destiny of the Wei family? It may also be that he owed too many debts when he was young, and now he is finally going to be punished? Just as he was depressed, someone in the Wei family suddenly shouted with excitement, "Liang is coming with the genius Dr. Tiankai, and a young man, he is back." As soon as he said this, everyone showed excited eyes. Yang Zhen's eyes widened, and he tremblingly asked, "What did you just say? Who did Liang bring back?" A person shouted at the door, "Liang brought Tiankai to the genius doctor, and a young man. He has entered the yard." As soon as the voice fell, Yang Zhen's expression immediately changed from surprise to ecstasy. "Tiankai is here?" Liang finally asked Tiankai to move. "God! Is the Wei family finally saved?" Fredman stood up even more excited. He didn't even care about the needle for the infusion on the back of his hand, his eyes were red with excitement. Since the roots began to fester, he actually felt vaguely in his heart that only Tiankai could keep his roots. However, he also knew that Tiankai was very dissatisfied with him, and it was impossible to save him. As for why Tiankai had changed his mind again and followed the Wei family back to treat him, he couldn't understand, and he didn't bother to think about it. He just wanted to get his own roots cured. Even if it is useless, as long as it stays there neatly, he never wants to lose it. Yang Zheng, who has been in poor health, walked to the door with excitement and exclaimed in excitement, "Quick! Get the genius Dr. Tiankai in." Barana on the side was incredulous, and blurted, "How could Liang, a wild species, invite Tiankai? He can't do it at all." "Shut up! We don't care how he does it. It's a good thing to be able to invite Tiankai." Yang Zheng gave Barana a stern look, and blurted out a warning, "Don't talk nonsense later, you will wait until Fredman is cured." Barana was very upset, but he nodded and said yes. At this time, Liang, together with Tiankai and Charlie, stepped into Wei's house. Seeing Tiankai, the rest of the Wei family members were relieved. Everyone believed that since Tiankai came, the Wei family would be saved. Unexpectedly, at the moment of the crisis, it was Liang who turned the tide, which is incredible. It seems that Wei's pharmaceutical will be handed over to Liang now. With Liang's sudden eruption, the wind direction of the entire Wei family seemed to change a little. After all, Yang Zheng has said before, whoever can solve this problem, is the chairman of Wei's pharmaceutical, the owner of the family. For a moment, everyone's eyes became strange. Hearing these people's comments, Barana's face turned red, and his eyes were full of hatred. "Liang! You wild species, dare to steal my limelight? And Tian Kai, the old immortal thing, when he invited him, he clearly refused. Why did Liang invite him, and he came? At this moment, he saw Charlie. His face immediately became extremely ugly. He will never forget the humiliation that Charlie let him face, forcing him to lick the urinal in the brilliant club. Unexpectedly, this guy actually got together with Liang wild species. Fredman greeted him happily, but after seeing Charlie, his face immediately became difficult to look. At the same time, his heart was suddenly upset. The humiliation he suffered at the hands of Charlie was no less than Baroness. Originally, he regarded Charlie as a mortal enemy, but now that Charlie and Tian Kai came together, he did not dare to pretend to be forced, because he knew that Tian Kai, an old thing, seemed to have been poured into Charlie's ambit and treated Charlie respectfully. If he offends Charlie again, he will definitely not care about it anymore. Thinking of this, without saying anything, he immediately stepped forward and bowed to Tian Kai and said, "Uncle, I made you angry before, it was all my fault. I now know I was wrong. Please heal me." Tian Kai said nonchalantly, "I said that our two families will never have any relationship in the future, please don't call me uncle again, I can't afford it." After all, he pointed to Charlie next to him, and said respectfully, "Also, the person who will take care of you today is not me, but Mr. Wade." In Tian Kai's eyes, Charlie's ability was almost close to God's, and nothing else, his refined magic medicine alone, in Tian Kai's eyes, had surpassed all doctors and pharmacists in the world. Therefore, Tian Kai respects Charlie all the time and has a heartfelt respect for him. When Fredman heard this, he was immediately stunned, and looked at Charlie in disbelief. "Charlie, can you heal me?" Charlie looked at Fredman playfully, and said, "Fredman, your attitude is not so good, do you still want your roots?" Tian Kai also frowned and said, "Fredman, Mr. Wade is the only person in this world who can save you. If you still disrespect Mr. Wade, I hope you will not regret it in the future." As soon as Fredman heard this, he immediately snorted in his heart. The 8 achievements of his illness were caused by Charlie, who made the tactics at the renovation summit, but he has not found any direct evidence. What's more, Charlie has humiliated him more than once. Let him call his father and grandpa. It can be said that the person he hates most in this world is Charlie. However, when he heard that Charlie was the only one who could save him, Fredman immediately squeezed all the hatred in his heart, quickly changed his face, and said to Charlie with a flattering expression, "I was wrong, Mr. Wade, you don't take it to your heart, please help me and save my life." Charlie smiled faintly, looked at him and asked, "Fredman, have you forgotten what I should be called?" Fredman gritted his teeth and thought to himself that if a man can bend and stretch, he will fight for roots. So, he immediately knelt on the ground and said to Charlie, "Grandpa, what happened before was all my fault. Please don't remember the villain's fault, please help me." As he said, he still twitched his mouth for fear that Charlie would be angry and would not give him treatment. The rest were dumbfounded. This is Fredman. The chairman of Future Company Group actually called a young grandfather? What is the identity of this young man who can make the chairman of a large group bow his head so much? Charlie nodded in satisfaction at this time and said, "Not bad, you are getting more and more skilled in your business. Young Zheng and Tiankai all admired Charlie so much, but Fredman even called Charlie grandfather, almost falling off his startled eyes. He hurriedly stepped forward and complimented, "After hearing the name of Mr. Wade for a long time, I can't think of seeing your true face today. It is really a master indeed. I strongly believe you can deal with Chairman Wilson's illness, please help him." Barana on the side couldn't help but feel angry when he saw Charlie, so he gritted his teeth and said, "Dad, this grandson is not a master at all. I've asked about it a long time ago. He is just a feng shui god stick. Don't believe him. It must be Liang, a wild species, who colluded with him to lie to you." Young Zheng shook his heart. Seeing Charlie frowned, he immediately slapped Barana with his hand. What he didn't expect was that when Fredman, who was kneeling on the ground, heard this, he jumped up and slapped Barana too. The two of them, one left and the other on right, gave Barana a bow from left to right. Barana didn't expect that he was only proving Charlie's identity, and he was beaten by both his father and Fredman at the same time. Fredman beat him, he could still bear it. After all, he knew in his heart that it was the medicine that Fredman took by fooling him, and it was normal for Fredman to hate him. However, Barana couldn't believe that his father, who had barely touched himself in decades, slapped him twice in this moment of effort. He covered his face, looked at young Zheng angrily, and blurted out, "Dad, why did you hit me again? Did I make a mistake?" "Shut up!" Young Zheng glared at him fiercely, and cursed in his heart, why this prodigal son didn't have any eyesight. Now even Tiankai is Charlie's licking dog, so now Charlie is the only savior of the Wei family. Even if he is really a magic stick, it can never be said in front of him, let alone offend him. After scolding Barana, young Zheng said, "Now Mr. Wade, this dog is unleashed, you must not take it to heart." Fredman also panicked. He hated Barana to death. He kicked Barana and said coldly, "Barana, don't talk too much here. If you annoy Mr. Wade and Grandpa Wade, I'll chop you." Barana sighed, he had already rolled 3 meters and finished driving. After Fredman kicked, he hurriedly laughed at Charlie and said, "Grandpa Wade, don't be angry at this kind of garbage, he is not worthy at all, please hurry up and treat me." Barana was completely stunned. Charlie was just a rubbish live-in son-in-law. He fooled a bunch of big people with feng shui tricks. He was telling the truth. How come he was beaten in the end? Charlie looked at them coldly and said, "If it weren't for Liang to beg me, I wouldn't be here at all, so you people, you must know in your heart that if the Wei family resolves the crisis today, the credit entirely goes to Liang." When young Zheng heard this, he hurriedly praised Liang, "You did a good job this time, I will remember it." Liang's heart was excited and intolerable. It seems that as long as Charlie cures Fredman's fester, he will become the chairman of Wei's Pharmaceuticals. However, he didn't know that young Zheng already had his nitric acid U-disc in his heart. In young Zheng's view, Liang was born as a wild species from a village girl in Qinbei mountain who was played with by himself. Because his mother was born humble, young Zheng was also 100 people inferior to Liang. He originally said that he and his eldest son Barana, whoever can solve the family crisis, can be the chairman. In fact, the main purpose is to stimulate Barana and make him actively think of ways. He really didn't expect Liang to have such a big breakthrough, that he could invite Tiankai and Charlie over. If he really did what he said, then when Charlie took the initiative to cure Fredman, he would have to make Liang the chairman. But how is it possible? He is a garbage that shouldn't exist at all. In the beginning, he just happened to be in Chenbai Mountain and found a beautiful girl in the home of the medicine farmer he cooperated with. So, with the purpose of having fun, he captured her with rhetoric and had a few shots. But he didn't expect that the girl will pregnant. What was even more unexpected was that he clearly refused her request to get married, and then left the village at the foot of Chenbai Mountain, and never visited again, but the woman just gritted her teeth and gave birth to the child alone. When he learned of Liang's existence, the wife of young Zheng, had been arguing with him for a long time, and made Wei's chickens and dogs restless. At that moment, he had been full of disgust for Liang before he met him. Young Zheng himself is an extremely selfish person. He has several illegitimate children outside, but he doesn't want to take them back. Because in his opinion, those illegitimate children were born because their mothers did not know themselves, let alone a little credibility. Everyone is just playing on the spot. If you are pregnant, you should get rid of it. What is it when it is born? Therefore, this is also the fundamental reason why he always hates Liang. If it hadn't been for his father to hear that there was a grandson living out and forced him to take him back, he would never want to see the wild species born by this rural woman. Now, even if Liang made great contributions, he would not be able to hand the Wei family's business into his hands. Is he not a shit? However, young Zheng did not reveal the slander and uncomfortableness in his heart. He just wanted to quickly send Fredman away, the plague god. So young Zheng respectfully said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, please help Fredman." Fredman also looked at Charlie bitterly. He called him grandfather and apologized. Wasn't it just to cure his illness? Otherwise, how could he endure and not get angry yet? Charlie smiled playfully and said to Fredman, "Come on, I'll give you a pulse number." Fredman hurriedly stretched out his wrist. Charlie pretended to signal his pulse, and said, "This is because your body itself is going through blood stasis, the downward movement is not smooth, and you also took the medicine that promotes liver fire and kidney fire, which caused the accumulation of efficacy and caused ulceration, so it's absolutely impossible to cure it simply by anti-inflammatory." Fredman felt very reasonable, and hurriedly asked, "Mr. Wade, how can you treat my disease?" Charlie smiled slightly and said, "I need to make a bowl of medicinal soup with 18 traditional medicines for your disease." As he said, he waved his hand, "Get a pen, I'll give you a prescription." Fredman got excited immediately and blurted out, "Great, great. Thank you, Mr. Wade." After speaking, he hurriedly asked young Zheng for paper and pen, and handed them to Charlie respectfully. Charlie scribbled the most bitter traditional medicine with 18 flavors, and prescribed a large dose. Just this nonsense prescription, if he drinks a sip of the boiled medicine, it is estimated that the tongue will be bitter for 3 months and no other taste can be tasted. After the prescription was written, Charlie directly handed it to young Zheng and said, "Your Wei family is a pharmaceutical company. It should be easy to get this medicine for you." Young Zheng took a hurried look and saw that the medicinal materials above are relatively common, so he nodded and said, "All of these are available. I have them at home." I'll let people get them." After that, he called a servant, handed him the prescription, and said coldly, "Go grab the medicine." "Okay, Lord." The servant hurried to grab the medicine according to the prescription, but Fredman trembled with excitement, and blurted out, "Mr. Wade, can this medicine be made really? Can it be done by boiling it in water and drinking it?" Charlie nodded, and said unpredictably, "It can be good or it can not be good, but this medicine still lacks a drug primer." "Medicinal primer?" Fredman asked hurriedly, "What do I need to use to make medicinal primer? Tell me, I will send someone to prepare." Charlie smiled and said, "You have a large amount of blood and qi, you need to use human urine as a medicine." "Using human urine?" Fredman immediately said with an embarrassed face, "Isn't this disgusting? Is it really necessary to use urine?" Charlie snorted coldly, "Do you think I'm bluffing you?" After that, he pointed to young Zheng, and said, "You should have been in the medicinal material business for many years. I ask you, in many ancient recipes, do you want to use urine as a medicine?" "Yes, yes, yes." Young Zheng nodded immediately, and said, "Many ancient recipes require urine as a medicine. In the south, there is even a tradition of using urine to boil eggs. It does have a certain health effect." Having said that, young Zheng said to Fredman, "Fredman, don't worry too much, urine in traditional medicine is a very pure thing and it is not dirty." Hearing that it was a boy peeing, Fredman's expression eased slightly. He used to watch costume movies and TV shows. This boy has a high rate of appearance, so now he wants to come, not so disgusting. However, when he had just accepted boy urine, Charlie suddenly said, "In fact, this drug primer cannot be used with boy pee, because boy pee is produced by the pure body that has never touched a woman, so boy pee energy is extremely strong, and you have blood stasis. If you use boy urine again, it will only aggravate your condition." When Fredman heard this, he asked in amazement, "Mr. Wade, can it be done with a girl's urine?" "Nor for girls." Charlie waved his hand and said, "To treat your disease, you have to use adult male urine, and this adult man must have slept with many women, the more the better. Because he has slept. The more women there are, the more cloudy the urine will be, and it will have an excellent effect on your blood stasis." Fredman was stunned, and couldn't help asking, "Mr. Wade, do you have a grudge against me, so you deliberately play with me? Why do I feel more mysterious as I listen?" Charlie said calmly, "I can swear with my life. If you do exactly what I said, your fester will be cured. If it doesn't work, let the thunder hit me." After all, Charlie glanced at Fredman disdainfully, and said, "That's the end of the story. If you don't believe me, then I have no other way." Seeing Charlie's incomparable sincerity, Fredman believed a little bit in his heart. At this time, Charlie saw that he was still a little bit unbelieving, and said, "This way, so many people have witnessed that if my medicine is ready, if you drink it and it is not completely cured within 10 minutes, I will give you 100 million. Last time at the auction of the Traditional Medicine Expo, Charlie spent 100 million on a 300-year-old purple ginseng, so no one doubts that he can bring forth another 100 million. When Fredman heard this, he felt that Charlie was probably not cheating him. Otherwise, at the price of 100 million, he would drink a pee for himself, then he wouldn't lose his life? If he is really willing to give up, with a grit and a stomping, he can directly drink as the world's first defeat. So he gritted his teeth, for the sake of his own roots, blurted out, "Okay. Then as you say." Having said that, he thought about it for himself, and said seriously, "Mr. Wade, I have not used many women in my life, but there are 100 smaller ones, so I should just drink my own urine." Charlie frowned and looked at him. "What do you think? If your own urine is useful, do you still need to drink it? It has already worked in your bladder." "Hey!" Fredman blurted out, "I can't use my own? Whose one should I use?" Charlie looked around and said, "Come on, everyone who is present, please report how much experience you have in that area. Please answer honestly. Don't brag, otherwise it will delay Fredman's treatment. Be responsible here." Everyone didn't speak, but they started to look at each other. In the end, they all looked at the old master of the Wei family, Yang Zheng. Who doesn't know that Yang Zheng, the elder of the Wei family, was ultra-romantic when he was young? When he was young, he could eat his poisonous recipe for strong sheep every day, and he was about to die when he was only in his 60s, so he should be the one with the most women. Seeing that everyone was looking at him, Yang Zheng suddenly felt a sense of accomplishment. He said proudly, "Mr. Wade said that he was dissatisfied with that when he was young. Wei was more exposed to the wind, and there were more women who liked me. I roughly calculate, forget it, there are 300 to 500. Charlie nodded, pointed at Yang Zheng and said to Fredman, "Okay, it's him." Fredman's expression is very ugly. Let himself drink the urine of Yang Zheng? This is too disgusting, right? However, Charlie said that the more experience in that area, the better the effect. Yang Zheng is a terrible old master who can play better than himself, and really can't find someone more suitable than him. So he had to gritted his teeth and said, then so be it." Charlie nodded, and said to Yang Zheng, "Come on, Mr. Wei, you first take 2 liters of pure water, hold back your urine, and when you feel like urinating, get a basin and connect it. When you save 1 liter, and then you tell me." 1 liter. Fredman was about to collapse. "Mr. Wade, this is too much," Charlie said. "What if the effect is not good? Are you trying to corrupt my 100 million? "No, it's not about that." Fredman hurriedly waved his hand and said, "I was thinking about it. Almost 2 mouthfuls are enough." 1 liter is too scary, Charlie said seriously. "If you want to cure the ulcer in 1 step, you have to drink 1 liter, otherwise, in case of sequelae, don't blame me." Fredman's heart was depressed, and he didn't know if Charlie was playing with him. It can be seen that he was serious, and he was willing to swear by his life. He also attached a promise of 100 million. He always felt that this man should not be playing. At this time, the person who was sent to grab the medicine came back. According to Charlie's request, the dried and dehydrated medicinal materials alone cost more than 20 kilograms. Charlie said, "Come on, divide these medicines into 4 parts, put each part in a casserole, add 10 liters of water, and boil it on high heat for 1 hour, then mix the 4 parts of the soup together, and cook for another half an hour, and finally 40 liters of water. Boil it to a liter. After speaking, Charlie said to Fredman, "When the medicine is ready, and Mr. Wei has enough urine, you will have 1 liter of medicine and 1 liter of urine. Drink the urine first, then the medicine, understand?" Fredman was really crying. 2 liters in one breath? 1 liter of Chinese herbal medicine that is so bitter to death, and 1 liter of the old master's urine, which is probably too bad, is absolutely terrible. However, in order to cure his own roots, he did not dare to bargain. Instead, he asked, "Mr. Wade, can you drink the medicine first and then drink the urine? In this case, the medicine will have a strong taste, and you won't be able to taste it after drinking urine." "What are you kidding?" Charlie said contemptuously, "Drinking first, of course you have to drink the urine first, and then drink the medicine. You are upside down, is it urine inducement or not?" But after only a moment, he wanted to understand the truth in Charlie's words. Since urine is a drug primer, it must be used to induce drugs, that is, he must drink urine first. However, 1 liter is too much. Fredman felt his head as big as a fight when he thought of this. Charlie smiled and said, "At this time, this matter can't be delayed. If you really suck it up by yourself, don't blame me for not saving you." Fredman shuddered in shock, and blurted out, "Okay. I listen to you." Charlie nodded and said to Young Zheng, "Mr. Wei, please drink more water first, and also, quickly arrange for someone to boil the medicine." How dare Young Zheng nod? He hurriedly nodded and said, "Mr. Wade, don't worry, I'll go drink more water." Fredman sighed, already admitting his fate. To him, healing the fester is more important than anything else. Charlie was particularly happy at this time. To treat Fredman's ulcer, what kind of pea and the most bitter thing are important? As long as a little bit of medicine dregs is removed from the pills he refined before, he can heal his fester. The reason why he told him that he was asked to use Young Zhen's urine as a medicine was to cheat him. After a while, the entire Wei family was filled with the extremely bitter taste of traditional medicine, and the bitter throat was dry and mouth astringent after just smelling it. It was hard to imagine how uncomfortable it would be to drink it. A few large pots of water were boiled on a high fire and boiled into a liter of concentrated black medicinal soup, which looked no different from oil. Young Zheng hadn't returned yet after the herbal soup was boiled. Fredman was waiting anxiously, so he ordered someone to urge him. "Young Zheng has worked hard. He is old and his kidney is not good. It is really painful to drink so much water in one breath and force himself to urinate." After waiting for another 20 minutes, Young Zheng finally made up 1 liter and hurried in, clutching his nose. "Mr. Wade, 1 liter of urine is enough." Charlie was afraid that the smell would suffocate him, so he immediately stayed away, clutching his nose, and said to Fredman, "Come on, drink this first, and then drink the medicine." "Okay." Fredman nodded hurriedly. The severe pain there made him realize that this matter was urgent, so he did not dare to delay, and directly took the big bottle of orange liquid from Young Zhen's hands. Barina on the side looked nauseous, seeing Fredman want to drink this thing. He immediately involuntarily remembered his licking of the urinal in the Brilliant Club. Every time he thinks about it, he will inevitably want to nauseate. Fredman also wanted to vomit. Young Zheng, this bad old master, was really willing to give it to him. With a large cup of 1 liter, the liquid level was even a few millimeters higher than the scale of 1 liter. But when he thought that this thing could save his life, he didn't dare to delay a little bit. He hurriedly picked it up, closed his eyes, gritted his teeth, and directly poured it down. In an instant, the inside of Fredman's mouth exploded, and the whole mouth and nose were filled with a strong odor. He just wanted to vomit when he was sick. Gulp gulp, Fredman almost couldn't hold back, almost vomiting out, but because of fear of affecting the effect of the medicine, he hurriedly covered his mouth and swallowed again. The others are almost throwing up. The situation of this grandson at this moment, and the rich second generation who grabbed shit on YouTube some time ago, is really a match. Fredman drank it, wiped his mouth, and hurriedly said, "Where is the medicine? Quick! Give it to me." Charlie took a liter of thick black medicinal soup from the hand of his servant, and sprinkled in his fingertips a little bit of scraps that had just been picked from the pill. Afterwards, he smiled and brought the medicinal soup to Fredman, and said with a smile, "Come on, Fredman, please." There was a strong smell in Fredman's mouth. At this moment, he couldn't wait to cover up with a little other smell, so he picked up the soup and took a big sip. This mouthful of medicinal soup hardly fainted him bitterly. He had never tasted anything so bitter in his life. It was so bitter, like 10,000 bottles of licorice slices melted into this bowl of medicinal soup. And this medicinal soup is not only bitter, but it also burns badly. The tongue that burned in the mouth became numb, and then the whole mouth was numb. Drinking into the stomach, the whole stomach feels like drinking sulfuric acid, burning uncomfortable. However, at the same moment when he drank it, Fredman immediately felt a different kind of heat spreading from his stomach to the bottom. The pain there was relieved immediately. Hey! What a god! Fredman was so excited, he didn't care that the ghost was going to die, so he poured in. When he drank it, the dregs in the bottom were as thick as black sesame paste, and when he drank it in, it was pasted in mouth. It was uncomfortable. However, he swallowed all the dregs of medicine into his stomach for the sake of effect. At this time, his entire mouth was numb to death. He didn't know that at this moment his taste buds were burned out by the ghost medicine soup. What he eats in the next few months will definitely be tasteless. What's more, the mouth will always be numb, and the burning pain is enough for him. More importantly, this medicine burns the stomach and intestines. In the next few months, he estimates that he will scavenge several times a day. In short, there will be sins. However, Fredman didn't have the energy to experience the discomfort in other places now. He felt more and more that the painful part of the ulcer was refreshed and comfortable, and the whole person seemed to be much easier. It's amazing, it feels effective. Fredman was overjoyed and immediately took off his pants in front of everyone. When he glanced at it, he was almost excited to shed tears. The place where the fester was originally present, healed quickly. This is really amazing. At this time, Charlie said calmly, "Your ulcer should have been cured, but your nerves have been necrotic. It must be very difficult to regain your strength in the future, and I advise you not to take that medicine indiscriminately, otherwise maybe there will be the same experience again." Fredman nodded repeatedly. Since the roots began to fester, he no longer hopes to regain his glory. As long as he can let it stay there, he is already satisfied. "I'm fine now," My roots are kept. Charlie said faintly at this time. Fredman, you should be grateful that at the auction that day, I took the 300-year-old premium purple ginseng, not you. Otherwise, with your condition. If you took the 300-year-old premium purple ginseng, I'm afraid it will just rot away there, instantly. Giving you no time. Fredman was scared after a while. At this moment, in front of Charlie, he didn't dare to pretend to be forced, and he could only say respectfully, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for your rescue." Charlie said, "Since you have recovered now, there is no need to embarrass the Wei family, right?" Of course, of course." Fredman nodded repeatedly. "Although I have suffered a lot of crimes, since the roots have been cured, there is indeed no need to continue to talk to Ways." Now he is full of sadness for Oris Hill, as if he has come to Oris Hill and his life has not been better. At this time, his roots were also preserved. Deep down in his heart, he wanted to return to East Cliff and leave the sad place of Oris Hill behind forever. After suffering so many wrongs, Fredman really wanted to go home. Moreover, he knew that he could not find a way to restore his glory in Oris Hill, so he wanted to return to East Cliff again to see if he could find an expert. One more thing is very important. His mother is nearly 84 years old. As the eldest son, he must go back to celebrate her birthday. However, his mother asked him to invite Tiankai over, but now it seems that Tiankai still did not forgive him. However, he still asked Tiankai tentatively, "Uncle, it will be my mother's birthday banquet in a few days. I wonder if you can come to East Cliff to enjoy it." Tiankai said blankly, "Fredman, I have already told you that there is no relationship between me and the Wilson family, so you don't need to waste your tongue anymore about the birthday party." Fredman sighed softly and nodded. Even though he wanted to put Tiankai, this bad old master, on the ground, he still said very humbly, "Since uncle has made a decision, Fredman is not reluctant to force it. If this is the case, then I will return to East Cliff first." Tiankai nodded. Fredman glanced at him, then looked at Charlie, his teeth tickled with hatred, but still did not say a word, took his bodyguard, and left Dingy. Seeing that the plague god finally left, young Zhang was completely relieved. Moreover, he discovered that he actually got a good prescription because of a blessing in disguise. It turns out that the root ulcer can be treated with a dozen traditional medicine soup and combined with his own urine treatment. This is amazing. If anyone has such a thing in the future, then he can completely treat him. Thinking of this, he hurriedly stepped forward and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade is truly a Oris Hill genius doctor, and his medical skills are admired. Today, thanks to Mr. Wade's action, my Wei family can survive. The Wei family will remember Mr. Wade's kindness forever." The others also bowed their hands and saluted Charlie, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for saving the Wei family in the fire and water. We are grateful." Charlie glanced at them, and said lightly, "I'm not here to hear that you are grateful to me." With that, Charlie pointed at Liang and said to young Zhang, "Since Liang has solved your Wei family's troubles, as you said, he should be the chairman of Wei's Pharmaceuticals now, right? When are you going for the official announcement?" When young Zhang heard this, a trace of dissatisfaction flashed in his eyes. He was the head of the Wei family. When was it the turn of an outsider to drink? Besides, how could it be possible to get that wild species as the chairman of Wei's Pharmaceuticals? Barina on the side was also furious. This outsider was really too much. Helping that wild species to grab the chairmanship? Doesn't he know that he is eldest son of the Wei family? Liang, who had been insulted for half his life, was extremely excited at this time, and his eyes were full of gratitude when he looked at Charlie. At this time, he already regarded Charlie as a second-born parent, however. Young Zheng smiled at this moment, and said unhurriedly, "Mr. Wade, to tell you, this is the Wei family's family affair, not to mention the appointment of the chairman of the board, which is of great importance, and we have to consider long-term considerations." What he meant was that you, Charlie, are just an outsider, don't interfere with the Wei family. When Liang heard this, his excitement instantly fell into the ice cellar. He finally realized that he had been tricked. And it was miserable. Dad was not prepared to give him a chance at all. Even if he took out the precious snow ginseng that his mother left for him, even if he begged Charlie to save the Wei family, his father was still not going to make him the chairman. At this moment, Charlie frowned, looked at young Zheng, and asked coldly, "What? Do you want to regret it?" Young Zheng hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, you don't know anything about this. What I told the two dogs at that time was that if anyone can help the family solve this problem, whoever has the opportunity to be the chairman of the board, Liang contributes to the family today. Of course, I will make a note for him. When the chairman is elected in the future, he will naturally have a better chance of winning." Young Zhen's rhetoric is a complete rogue. Whoever solves the crisis can become chairman of the board, and he changed his claim that whoever solves the crisis will have the opportunity to become chairman. This has a chance. He took the initiative of the whole thing completely in his own hands, which is like putting a coin in the hand, and start with it. The coin is positive, and the coin is reversed. It's the opposite, who can win him? Barina beside him was also a little angry at this time. Anyway, Fredman is gone, and the crisis has been resolved. He is not so afraid of Charlie anymore. He just blurted out, "Charlie, the family affairs of our Wei family. It has nothing to do with outsiders. If you are acquainted, get out, the Wei family still has no turn to play wild." Young Zheng is also the kind of old dog that employs people forwards instead of backwards. Seeing that his son has come out and tore his face, he simply said directly, "To be honest, I absolutely cannot give Wei's Pharmaceuticals to this wild species from Qinbei Mountain. I have played with countless women in my life. This wild mother is the second one. She's just a village girl. If I were not young and hot, I would feel uncomfortable around her." When Liang heard this, he shouted angrily, "How can you say that to my mother?" Young Zheng glared his eyebrows and shouted coldly, "Why? Do you still want to bark your teeth with me? It's really a unfamiliar wild species. In this case, the Wei family has raised you for so many years, and you don't know how to repay us. In a vain attempt at the Wei family's family business? In my opinion, you will get out of the Wei family from now on." Liang lowered his head and stood sullenly on the side. Deep down in his heart, he had accepted the failure. He blamed himself for being naive and believing Young Zhen's words. That being the case, it doesn't make any sense to stay in Wei's house, so it's better to make a clean break with them. Thinking of this, Liang clenched his fists, gritted his teeth and said, "Okay. From now on, I and your family will be absolutely gracious." Barana was overjoyed in his heart, and said with a smirk, "You wild species, you still have to die with us. We wanted to kick you out a long time ago, don't you know? After raising you for so many years, it's enough to waste food." Charlie looked at young Zheng and asked in a cold voice, "Mr. Wei, are you blatantly asking for revenge?" Young Zheng said with disdain, "This is the Wei family's business, and it has nothing to do with you. The Wei family doesn't welcome you right now. Get out of here." Young Zheng didn't believe in Charlie's background at all, but there was a prescription that could cure Fredman's illness. Such a person would definitely not be able to treat himself. Moreover, now Fredman's illness has been cured, and he has also left the Wei family. Even if he was hit and killed by a car when he went out, it had nothing to do with the Wei family. That being the case, why bother to put Charlie in his eyes? Young Zhen's rebellion did not exceed Charlie's expectations. As long as there is more than one child in the family, it is difficult for parents to treat everyone fairly. This is human nature. It's as if the old Mrs. Wilson always felt that Claire didn't want to leave Charlie because she didn't know how to raise her. Wendy, who had always listened to her, naturally pleased her even more. In young Zhen's eyes, he didn't regard Liang as his own son at all. For so many years, he was only raised in the Wei family as a servant. How could he be willing to pass on the entire family business to him? At this moment, Charlie looked at young Zheng and asked him in a cold voice, "I will give you one last chance to give the chairmanship to the right person. You can speak after you think about it." Young Zheng sneered and said, "I don't need to think about it. I'll tell you again. I can't give Liang the position of chairman. Let me tell you the truth. I never thought of giving him the position of chairman from the beginning, even if he saved the Wei family today, too. In my eyes, he will always be an illegitimate child who can't make it to the table. A woman from a village in Qinbei Mountain carries the waste of his birth." With that said, young Zheng looked at Liang again and yelled, "And you are a dog who eats inside and out. I have raised you for so many years. I want you to be a dog in Wei's family. You dare to covet the chairmanship. If I knew you had such wolf ambitions, I shouldn't have brought you back, but after that woman died, I should have thrown you into a ravine of Qinbei Mountain." Liang showed unwilling eyes and was extremely angry. "Young Zheng, you can insult me, but you can't insult my mother." "Your mother?" Young Zheng said contemptuously, "A village girl at the foot of Qinbei Mountain, who doesn't measure her strength, still dreams of marrying me. Thinking of her will only make me feel sick." Liang trembled with anger and violent blue veins, and shouted angrily, "Young Zheng, you have insulted my mother over and over again, I'm fighting with you." When he was about to rush up, Charlie suddenly stopped him and said lightly, "Don't do anything with this kind of old crap. You, as the head of the Wei family and the chairman of Wei's pharmaceutical company, will not let someone gossiping." When Charlie said this, all the people present were stunned. Young Zheng was surprised at first, then laughed loudly, "You kid is really interesting. Do you think you have the final say about the Wei family?" Charlie nodded and said calmly, "Today I said he is the head of the Wei family, he is the head of the Wei family." Young Zheng said contemptuously, "Boy, you have cured Fredman, I will forgive you once, now get out, I won't care about you, otherwise, I will let you know that the Wei family is not easy to mess with. Barina also kept yelling from the side, Charlie, I haven't accounted for you the last time. If you don't know how to promote today, then I will even count the benefits with you. Charlie stepped forward, slapped him in circles. No one thought that Charlie would do it. Everyone in the Wei family is going to rush up. Not only is Charlie not afraid at all, but rather arrogantly coldly said, you will listen to me. From today onwards, I, Charlie will officially chase young Zheng and Barina and his son. I give killing order. Which of you is not afraid of death, you can stand for them. I don't mind adding a few more names to the killing order. The chasing order in the underground world is like the Fantastic in the Hong Kong movie. Once the chasing order is issued and a reward is added, the entire underground world will be mobilized to hunt down the victims for the high reward. Now Ichiro, who is raising a dog in Orville's kennel, was ordered by his brother to kill in Japan. The reward amount is only 50 million. There are already countless people who are ready to move. If the reward is 50 million, the heads of the Wei family, father and son, then they will not be peaceful in this life. When young Zheng heard that Charlie was going to chase down him and his son, he immediately sneered, do you think you are great? My Wei family is worth at least 1 billion. I can take 1 billion out and give you another chase. A stronger killing order. Charlie said disdainfully, you rubbish, you are not qualified to pursue the killing order. With that said, Charlie took out his phone and called Mr. Orville directly. Immediately, the phone was connected, and Orville respectfully asked, Mr. Wade, what are your orders? Charlie said, Mr. Orville, give me a chasing order. I want to hunt down young Zheng and Barina his son. A reward of 100 million. It will take effect today at 12 o'clock in the morning. Mr. Orville said immediately, Mr. Wade, don't worry, I will tell the whole city. Immediately afterwards, Barina's mobile phone popped up a WeChat message frantically. He has a WeChat group with families that have a good relationship with the Wei family. Now the heads of these families are crazy. Barina, how did you provoke Orville? Now he is offering a bonus of 100 million, and he wants you and your dad's head. Effective tonight. Barina's face turned dark, and his heart was shocked and scared. Before he could reply, another message was posted in the group. Solomon White, the patriarch of the White family, has added a 100 million bonus to the Wei family and his son's chasing orders for the arena. Qin Gang, the patriarch of the Qin family, has also taken action, and the bonus has now increased to 300 million. My God! The Song family has also taken action. They directly added 200 million, and now the bonus is 500 million. Barina's face was extremely pale, the phone fell directly to the ground and the screen broke. Young Zheng on the side hurriedly asked, Barina, what happened? Barina was sweating profusely, and said the matter to young Zheng in a panic. When young Zheng heard these words, he was so frightened. What happened? Why is this young man so influential? Orville was the only one who looked at him, and the White family and Qin family also showed their courtesy to him. What is even more frightening is that the Song family, the largest family in Oris Hill, has to flatter him. What is the origin of this guy? 500 million bonuses, So much money is placed here, he's afraid that the underground world of the country will treat him and his sons as treasures. He was really scared this time. Looking at Charlie with an indifferent expression, his legs softened and he knelt directly on the ground, his face covered with cold sweat, and his whole body was shaking uncontrollably. "Mr. Wade, be merciful. Be merciful." Young Zhang also knelt on the ground and began to plead, "Mr. Wade, I was wrong. I don't know, Your Excellency. Please forgive me. I will never dare to do it again. I am willing to be a dog for you." Charlie looked at them coldly, and said lightly, "You want to live now? Were you not arrogant just now?" Young Zhang slapped himself immediately, crying and said, "Mr. Wade, I am always confused. I didn't turn my mind just now. Please forgive me." After speaking, Young Zhang immediately said, "Mr. Wade, from now on Liang will be the chairman of Wei's Pharmaceuticals and the head of the Wei family. Are you satisfied now?" Charlie said lightly, "If you said that when I asked you first, I would have been satisfied, but if you say it now, I am not so satisfied." Young Zhang frightened his liver, and hurriedly asked, "Mr. Wade, how can you be satisfied?" Charlie looked at him and said coldly with the pale face of Barana, "Aren't you 10,000 people who look down on Qinbei Mountain and Liang, the woman who grew up under Qinbei Mountain? Well, then you and your eldest son, in this life just go to Qinbei Mountain to dig ginseng, and you can't leave Qinbei Mountain forever." Speaking of this, Charlie's expression became extremely cold, and he said word by word, "Listen to me for a lifetime, you can't leave Qinbei Mountain." Hearing this, Young Zhang was desperate. He has always been very upset with the bitter cold land of Qinbei Mountain. Had it not been for the fact that he had to collect medicine personally when he started his business, he would not be willing to go to that cold place. Precisely because he didn't look down on the bitter cold place, he didn't look down on Liang's mother as much as 10,000. He just felt that it was a temporary plaything, just playing with her and forgetting. However, he never dreamed that Charlie would punish him and prevent him from leaving Qinbei Mountain forever. That's a place that he has always hated. What's the difference between letting oneself go there and never leaving forever? He had a problem with his body a long time ago, and he couldn't live for a few years. If he went to a place like Qinbei Mountain, he would die faster, right? Moreover, living in that place is simply better than death for a bad old master like him who is greedy for pleasure. He looked at Charlie desperately, crying and begging, "Mr. Wade, my bad old master will not survive for a few years. Please be merciful. I am willing to pass on Wei's pharmaceutical to Liang, and please let me stay in Oris Hill, let me spend my old age here." Charlie asked coldly, "Have you ever thought that Liang's mother has been dead for 20 years? You has lived 20 years longer than her, and you have made a lot of money. So, for the rest of the days in your life you will go to Qinbei Mountain to confess. Not only do you go to the mountain every day to dig ginseng, but also have to sweep the grave of Liang's mother every day." After that, he looked at Liang and ordered, "Liang, after you accept Wei's pharmaceuticals, immediately organize some people to go there, supervise them every day, and ask them to sweep your mother's grave every morning and enter the mountains every morning and afternoon. Collect ginseng, do not allow them to use mobile phones, surf the internet, or watch TV. Let them live a life depending on sunrise and sunset every day. If they dare to be passive, break their legs and throw them into ice pops in the snow. Liang was thrilled with excitement. Unexpectedly, Charlie not only helped himself get Wei's pharmaceuticals, but also helped him to discipline young Zheng and Barana. More importantly, this punishment method was so hard that he would never even dream of it. The perfect ending. Let them go to Qinbei Mountain and spend the rest of their lives in the place they spurned. It is ironic, blackly humorous, and hate-free. He was extremely grateful to Charlie, and he immediately knelt on the ground and said respectfully, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for your perfection. Please rest assured, Mr. Wade, I will do it." Charlie gave a hum, glanced at young Zheng and Barana and his son, and said coldly, "If these two dare to escape from Qinbei Mountain, they will automatically activate the 500 million chasing order. As long as they dare to leave Qinbei Mountain in this life, they will die." When Barana heard this, his eyes burst into tears. He was already the second-in-chief of Wei's pharmaceuticals. With a wide network of contacts in Oris Hill and a well-earned family, his daily life is really a drunken fan. Suddenly let him go to Qinbei Mountain to dig ginseng, and he was not allowed to leave for the rest of his life, which made him more painful than being sentenced to life imprisonment. After all, if he serves a sentence in a prison, he can at least get a little smoke from modern society. However, if he goes to Qinbei Mountain, that bitter cold land, how can he stand it? So he cried out in despair and collapsed, "No! I won't go. I don't want to go digging for ginseng in ghost places like Qinbei Mountain." After finishing speaking, he looked at Charlie and kowtowed his head and said, "Mr. Wade, please forgive me. I am willing to leave China and never come back. Never trouble Liang again. Please don't let me go to Qinbei Mountain." Charlie didn't give them a chance at all, and directly ordered the rest of the Wei family, "You, Wei family, listen to me. From now on, you have only two paths. Either follow Liang and work hard, and Liang will make sure your own vested interests are met, or follow these two to Qinbei Mountain to dig ginseng." After speaking, Charlie's expression was stunned, and he shouted, "I'll give you 10 seconds to stand in line. After thinking about whom to follow, you will stand behind whom." As soon as Charlie said this, everyone in the Wei family immediately moved. However, they all stood behind Liang, all scrambling, without exception. Young Zheng and Barana scolded angrily, "You gang of white-eyed wolves, our Wei family has really raised you for nothing." Everyone completely ignored the accusations of their father and son. As the saying goes, the tree fell and the wall fell and everyone pushed. The father and son had obviously lost power. At this time, the fool would not stand with them, and then follow them to Qinbei Mountain to dig for a lifetime of ginseng. Barana cried loudly, and young Zheng on the side convulsed all over. Seeing that the situation is over, Barana could only look at Liang, crying and begging, "Liang, my good brother, although we are not born to the same mother, we are the same father's children anyway. Half of the blood on our bodies is the same, I am sorry. Poor brother, help me brother, plead with Mr. Wade, and forgive me brother. From now on, the Wei family will be yours. I don't need anything, as long as you don't send me to Qinbei Mountain." Liang looked at him coldly and said, I will not disobey Mr. Wade's decision for you are such a deceiver like you. What's more, you have not regarded me as a younger brother for so many years. You have insulted me and insulted my mother for so many years. I have hated you for a long time. Your fate today is entirely on your own account. I am too happy to be too late. Young Zheng said shiveringly, Liang, why am I also your biological father? Would you not be afraid of thunder and lightning if you treat your biological father like this? Won't be afraid? Liang asked coldly, it's you. You have hurt so many women and betrayed so many of your own flesh and blood. Are you not afraid of retribution? Speaking of this, Liang said seriously, actually, you are already getting retribution. You know in your heart that you have not been alive for a few years. Even if a miracle happens, you may be able to live for a few more years, depending on your physical condition. The period of living more is equal to suffering more. This is your retribution. You, Wei Yang was speechless, angrily for a while, his whole body coughing violently. Charlie said indifferently, give you 2 hours to prepare. After an hour, I will arrange for someone to take you to Chenbai Mountain. After speaking, he immediately called Orville and said, Mr. Orville, you arrange a few clever brothers, arrange 2 cars, let them pick up the Wei family father and son, and send them all the way to Chenbai Mountain. Orville immediately said, Okay Mr. Wade, I will make arrangements. After speaking, Orville asked again, by the way, Mr. Wade, why sending them to Chenbai Mountain? Charlie said, send them to the village at the foot of Chenbai Mountain. After that, you will buy them a small house that barely shelters the wind and rain, let the father and son live in, and buy them some rice, noodles, cereals, and oil. They are the people of Chenbai Mountain, and death is the ghost of Chenbai Mountain. Even if they are cremated, the ashes must be buried at the foot of Chenbai Mountain. Understand? Orville blurted out, Mr. Wade, I understand. The Wei family father and son sat on the ground and cried bitterly. Until now, they were unwilling to accept and were given the fate of Chenbai Mountain. Seeing that they were still there with ink stains, Charlie said lightly, although it is only autumn, it is already very cold in Chenbai Mountain. If you don't have thick clothes for the winter, and if you go there to freeze to death and frostbite, you will be completely blamed. When the father and son heard this, they suddenly realized that if the delay continued and the people from Mr. Orville came, they would really have to go to Chenbai Mountain empty-handed. So the father and son looked at each other, got up in despair, crying, and went to their respective rooms to pack their things. At this moment, they had completely given up the resistance in their hearts, because the strength that Charlie showed was far beyond their carrying range. The big families in Oris Hill are all adding bonuses for Charlie. If they don't leave, they will really die in Oris Hill. The rest of the Wei family avoided both father and son. Even if young Zheng was not well and had limited mobility, other people were unwilling to step forward to help. After all, no one wanted to offend Liang, the new head of the Wei family, let alone no one want to offend Charlie, whose hands and eyes are open to the sky. When the father and son packed their things, Orville personally brought a few younger brothers over. This time, Orville arranged a total of 6 younger brothers, with 3 land cruisers with relatively strong overall performance and adaptability, and prepared to drive all the way north and directly to Chenbai Mountain. It takes at least 2 days to reach the road over 2,000 kilometers. The little brothers Orville looked for were all excellent players with extraordinary strength under their hands. With 6 of them, the Wei family father and son have absolutely no chance to escape. Even Charlie feels that if they let them run, they may not dare to run, because once they run, they will be chased by all walks of life. By then, they will really lose their lives. It is better to go to Chenbai Mountain honestly. Half an hour later, the Wei family head and his son, who had packed 2 large suitcases of luggage, came to the lobby full of despair. Seeing this, Charlie opened his mouth and said, "Okay, the people and cars to take you north have arrived. Hurry up and get in the car and set off now." The father and son can only nod sullenly, and then they are taken away by Orville's younger brothers. When they left, the 2 turned their heads 1 step at a time, but even if the 2 of them were very reluctant, they had to get out at this time. Young Zheng regrets most in his heart. Knowing this a long time ago, it would be better for Liang to honestly give him the position of chairman he promised after he resolved the crisis. In this case, Liang would certainly not drive him to Chenbai Mountain. Therefore, the reason why there is today is, in the final analysis, made by myself. Liang watched young Zheng and Barana get into the car with his own eyes. The 3 cars left Wei's house and went straight to Chenbai Mountain, more than 2,000 kilometers away. There were tears in his eyes until the team disappeared from sight. Immediately, he stepped up to Charlie. Without a word, he knelt on his knees, and squatted 3 heads vigorously, then raised his head, choked and said, "Mr. Wade, I feel fulfilled. I had 2 major wishes in this life. They have been realized. From now on, Liang's life belongs to Mr. Wade, Wei's pharmaceutical, and Mr. Wade. In this life, Liang will always listen to your dispatch. As long as you say a word, Liang dares to blink a glance, the sky must thunder." Charlie smiled indifferently and said, "Liang, you have a backbone and are a filial son. What you lacked is an opportunity. I admire you, so I am willing to fulfill your dreams, but you must remember that you must never live the life of the person you hate. If you let me know in the future that you have become another young Zheng, then I will kill you with my own hands, understand?" Liang knocked his head down, unable to get up for a while, and said loudly, "I understand." If Liang is half similar to young Zheng in the future and fails Mr. Wade's entrustment, Liang would like to apologize with death. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.